All right, college algebra, lesson 5.1, solving systems of linear equations in 2-variable and 3-variable. All right, first off, we have a 2-variable system solved by substitution method. When you do substitution, you look for something like this right here, where we have this y variable with no coefficient. So we're going to solve this equation here by adding x to both sides. That gives me y equals 9 plus x. And now right there, I've got y isolated, it equals 9 plus x, and now I can do the substitution. I can put this in place for y in the other equation. So to do that, I'm going to have 2x plus 5y equals -4, and right there where y was, I'm going to put 9 plus x in its place. That's my substitution. And now I'm going to solve this equation for x, which means I'll have to distribute here. So that gives me 2x plus 45 plus 5x when I distribute my 5 through this parentheses here. And it equals -4. Okay, now I can put my like terms together. 2x plus 5x is 7x. Okay, and then now I can subtract 45 on both sides. I get 7x equals, is that -49? And I divide by 7. I get x is -7. There you go. There's what x is. Now what's y? Well, I just simply go right back into this thing right here. Since x is -7, 9 plus -7 would be 2. Y equals 2. And so there's my solution, -7, 2. X is always first, and then my y, and that's my solution right there. Okay? Now, what about elimination method? Elimination is probably one we'll use most often. What I'm looking for on this is either my x's can eliminate or my y's can eliminate. Now right now they can't, because if I add these together or subtract them, neither one will they eliminate. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to multiply to make them match. And what I'm going to focus on is my y's here, because this is negative and that's positive. So I'm going to focus on my y's to make them match. So what I'll do is I'll take this 5 and I'll multiply the bottom equation by 5. And I'll take this 4 and I'll multiply the top equation by 4. Okay, so that's going to give me 4 times 2x, which is 8x. 4 times -5y is -20y. 4 times 47 is 188, I think. Let's punch that in the calculator. Yeah, 188. All right, now do 5 times the bottom one. So 5 times 5x is 25x. 5 times 4y is 20y. 5 times 2 is 10. And now look what I have. In this right here, my y's are opposites. And so if I draw a line and add these together, they should eliminate. So right here, 8 plus 25, 8x plus 25x is 33x. -20y plus 20y, that eliminates. Equals 188 plus 10 is 198. So divide both sides by 33. 198 divided by 33 is 6. X equals 6. Okay. Now, all I have to do is take my 6 and plug that in one of these equations up here and figure out what y is. So if I just go 6 right here, 2 times 6 minus 5y equals 47. 2 times 6 is 12. Minus 12. That gives me -5y equals, what is that, 35? And then divide by -5. And I got -7. And there you go. X is 6, y is -7. So my solution, 6, -7. Okay. All right, now, what about a 3-variable system like this one? When you have a 3-variable system, you're pretty much going to do elimination method. It's rather complicated to do substitution. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to look for a variable that looks like you might eliminate good and break this down to a two-variable system. And what I'm going to focus on right here is this x. See, it's a negative x. So if I multiply this by 4, I'll have negative 4z and positive 4z. I think I said x. I'm going to focus on the z here. So that would eliminate my z's there. But I'm going to have two equations. So if I multiply this by 16, I'll have negative 16z, and so I could subtract those and eliminate my z's there. And I have to have two equations. So let me do this in pencil here so I can erase afterwards. Okay, I'm going to multiply this by 16. Okay, 16 times all this right here. So 16 times 5x is 80x. 16 times y is 16y. 16 times negative z is negative 16z. 16 times 10 is 160. Now let's write this other one down here. And now look here. I've got these z's that match. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to subtract this bottom one from the top one. So 80 minus 4 is 76x. 16 minus 4 would be 12y. Negative 16 minus negative 16 eliminates. 160 minus 6 is 154. And there you go. There's a two-variable equation. But I have to have a second one. All right, so I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to take this one again that has this negative z. I'm going to multiply it by 4 so we can eliminate that one. So let me erase this that I wrote a while ago. I'm going to put a 4 here. And now I do 4 times all this. So 4 times 5x is going to be 20x. 4 times y would be 4y. 4 times negative z, negative 4z. 4 times 10 is 40. Okay, now let's write this equation here underneath it. And now see my z's. They can eliminate if I add them together. Sometimes you add, sometimes you subtract. How do you know what to do? When they're the same sign like this, like these were, you subtract them. But if they're opposite signs, you add them. So I'm going to add these. So 20 plus negative 1 would be 19x. 4 plus negative 1 would be 3y. Negative 4z plus 4z eliminates. 40 plus 5 is 45. And then there's another equation. And now I've got two variable equations. Okay. So let me get another paper here. 76x plus 12y equals 154. 19x plus 3y equals 45. So here's my two equations now. And I want to solve this now. To do elimination, I think the easiest thing would be right here. If I multiply this by 4, then I'll have 12y. All right. And that will eliminate. So 4 times 19 is 76x. Uh-oh, I'm seeing something bad here. 4 times 3y is 12y. 4 times 45 is 180. And let's write this other one down. And I notice right here, these equations are the same. 76x plus 12y, but over here, they don't equal the same. So that means what we have here is we've got two lines that are parallel lines, and there's no solution for those. So this one's inconsistent. No solution. All right. So, what about this one? Solve this system. Okay. Now this one's a little bit easier looking because right here I got x plus y. I got this one with no z variable. So if I subtract y on both sides, if I subtract a y on both sides, I'll have x equals negative y. So what I can do is I can substitute this in these other equations here and get me a two variable system. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm put negative y in for x. So right here, 3 times negative y would be negative 3y. I'll put my negative y in for x. Now I've got this minus 4y plus z equals 0. If I put it in that one, negative 9 times negative y, that'd be a positive 9y plus 12y minus 3z equals 0. So I just put negative y in for x up here in these two equations. All right, well now I've got like terms here, so that's going to give me a, right there, negative 7y plus z equals 0. And right here, to put them together, 21y minus 3z equals 0. Okay, and I can make these eliminate right here. I can make those eliminate, either one. I'm going to multiply this top one by 3. 3 times negative 7y is negative 21y. 3 times z would be 3z. 3 times 0 is 0. And now I have this system right here. And oh man, look here. Those eliminate and those eliminate. So I have 0 equals over here, when I add them up, 0. So this tells me it's infinite solutions. Many solutions here on this one. Okay, now what are the variables in terms of z? Well, so what I can do is, since x equals negative y, I could put negative y in here and solve for z in terms of y, or solve for y in terms of z. So if I put negative y in for 3x, I'll have this same thing down here. So I have, which was it right here, negative 7y plus z equals 0. And so I'll add 7y to both sides. Z equals 7y, and then divide by 7. And then y equals z over 7. There's what y equals. Okay. Now if I do the same thing for the other, what I'll do is, since x equals negative y, I'll put x in for negative y. Or what I can do is divide by negative 1 on both sides. Y equals negative x. So I'm going to put negative x in for y up here. So that means I'm going to have 3x, and then put negative x in for y here, which means I'm going to have negative 4 times negative x, which would be positive 4x, and plus z equals 0, which is 7x plus z equals 0. And then I can minus 7x on both sides, which gives me z equals negative 7x. Running out of room here. I'm going to divide by negative 7. And then x equals z over negative 7. Okay, which tells me my solutions. We'll write right here. X is z over negative 7. Y right here is z over 7. And then z is a z. So these are my solutions right here. So in terms of z, here's what all my solutions would be. Infinitely many of them. All right. Number 13. A sparkling water distributor wants to make up 500 gallons of sparkling water to sell for $8 per gallon. She wishes to mix 3 grades of water selling for $12, $2, and $4.50 per gallon respectively. She must use twice as much of the $4.50 water as the $2 water. How many gallons of each should she use? All right, first thing on this, since there's 3 grades, we'll just say A, B, and C are the 3 grades. And so what we have here is, since there's 500 gallons, we know grade A plus grade B plus grade C has to equal 500 gallons, since we're going to mix those 3 grades together. The next thing we know since that's $12 for grade A, $2 for grade B, and $4.50 for grade C, that means 12 times A plus 2 times B plus 4.5 times C would equal my total money, which means 500 gallons times $8 per gallon would be $4,000. So that's how much we're going to sell this for. Okay, we need one more equation, and that's going to come from down here. She must use twice as much of the $4.50 water as the $2 water. Now this, some people get this mixed up here. She must use twice of this as she does this. So this $2 water, which is the grade B, we got to double it to equal what the C is. So that's my third equation, which makes this kind of easy. Now I can just sub in 2B for C up here and change this from a 3 variable to a 2 variable. So that's what I'm going to do. I got A plus B plus, and I'm going to put 2B in for C, which gives me 2B equals 500. Then down here I got 12A plus 2B plus, and right here I'm going to put 2B in for C, which means 4.5 times 2B would be 9B equals 4,000. Okay. And now I can add my like terms. So that means I got A plus, that's 3B right there, equals 500. And down here I got 12A plus 11B equals 4,000. Okay. All right, now I need to solve this system. So I think the easiest thing would just be multiply this top one by 12. And I'll have 12A and 12A. So that's what I'm going to do. 12 times A would be 12A. 12 times 3B would be 36B. 12 times 500 would be 6,000. Okay. And so here's my system right there. See my A's. So if I just subtract the bottom one from the top one, 12 minus 12 eliminates. 11 minus 36 would be negative 25B. 4,000 minus 6,000, negative 2,000. And all I do is divide by negative 25. And that comes out to 80. There you go. So there's what the B grade. I have 80 gallons of B. Now I just come in here. Since B is 80, 2 times 80 is 160. So that means C needs to be 160. Okay. Now, what about the A grade? Well, let's see here. All three of these add up to 500. So if I do 80 plus 160, that'll be 240. So 500 minus 240 looks like 260. There you go. There's my A right there. So that's my solution here. All right, so it's going to be like this. 260, 80, 160. That's my solution. Okay. Yeah. Let's go to this one. Now 14. An investment of $44,000 was made by a business club. The investment was split into 3 parts and lasted for 1 year. The first part investment earned 8%, the second 6%, and the third 9%. The total interest from the investments was $3,600. The interest from the first investment was 4 times the interest from the second investment. Find the amounts of the 3 parts of the investments. All right, so there's 3 parts. So we'll do the A, B, and C again. All right, so that means all of them add up to 44,000. So A plus B plus C equals 44,000. There's my first equation. Now I need 2 more. Since it's 3 variables, I got to have 3 equations. Well, my interest right here, 8% for the first one. So I'm going to do 0.08 times A. That would be my interest there. My B would be 6%, so it's going to be 0.06 times B. And my third one got 9%, so 0.09 times C. That's my interest from the first one, the interest from the second one, the interest from the third one, and that should equal 3,600. Okay, so I got 2 equations. Now my third equation comes from right here. The interest from the first investment was 4 times the interest from the second investment. So it means the interest on the first one, this 0.08a, is 4 times the interest from the second one, which is this 0.06b. The interest from the first one is 4 times the interest from the second one. And that means 0.08a equals, that's going to be 0.24b. And I think what if I divide by 0.08, that means a equals 3b, and there you go. I've got 3b, I can plug in for a up here and get this to a 2 variable. Alright, so if I put 3b for a right there, it's going to be 3b plus b plus c equals 44,000. Put 3b in for a there, so 0.08 times 3 would be 0.24b, plus 0.06b plus 0.09c equals 3,600. And now these go together, which is 4b plus c equals 44,000. And then if I put those together, that's going to be 0.3b plus 0.09c equals 3,600. Lift a 0 off here. That's going to mess me up. Alright, so add my like terms together on these, and that gives me these. Alright, which means I've got 4b plus c equals 44,000, 0.3b plus 0.09c equals 3,600. Write it out again here. Okay, now let's see here. I'm going to multiply this one right here. Since I got a c there, I'm going to multiply by 0.09, so these will match. Okay. Alright, so 0.09 times 4 is going to be 0.36b. 0.09 times c is 0.09c. 0.09 times 44,000. Let's see here, 44,000 times 0.09 is 3,960. And now, right there, see how these match? So I'm just going to subtract the bottom one from the top one. Okay? So 0.3 minus 0.36 is negative 0.06b. 0.09 minus 0.09 eliminates. 3,600 minus 3,960 is negative 360. And divide by negative 0.06. Move this over 2, add 2 here. I'm just doing this in my head here. That's going to be 6,000. There you go. That's how much was put in B. Okay. Now, what we had on right here earlier, A is 3 times B. So if B is 6,000, 3 times 6,000 is 18,000. So it means A is 18,000. Okay. Now, what about C? How much was C? Well, all 3 of these should add up to 44,000 from the beginning here. So if I add these 2 together, that's 24,000. So 44,000 minus that is 20,000. There's what C is. And there you go. So to write this correctly here, 18,000, 6,000, 20,000. That's my solution. Okay. Now, got one last one here. Solve this system here. This looks like a bear here, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my z's over here and eliminate those and get this to a 2 variable system of just x's and y's. So if I take this one and times it by 5, I'll have 20z, which can eliminate that 20z. So I'm going to write the top one here. 24x plus 40y plus 20z, equals 2296. And then I'm going to do 5 times this whole line here. So 5 times 4x is 20x. 5 times 2y is 10y. 5 times 4z is 20z. Yeah, that's a 20z there. 5 times 334, 1670. And now I can eliminate these. So I'm going to have to, since they're the same, now I got to subtract the bottom one from the top one. So 24 minus 20, 4x. 40 minus 10, 30y. 20z minus 20z eliminates. 2296 minus 1670, 626. All right, there's one equation right there. But I have to have two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up here. Let me erase this, what I did a while ago. Okay. And I think what I'm going to do now, I'm going to times this one by 4. I'll have 4z and 4z, and that eliminate. Okay, so let's do that. Let's the top one here, 4x plus 2y plus 4z equals 334. Now 4 times all this one. So 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 times 2y is 8y. 4 times z would be 4z. Then 4 times 194 is 776. And now look at my z's here. They match, but they're the same sign, which means I'm going to have to subtract the bottom one from the top one. 4 minus 12 is negative 8x. 2 minus 8 would be negative 6y. 4 minus 4 eliminates. 334 minus 776 is negative 442. And there's another equation, 2 variable, and I can solve the system of these two. So let's write them down here. 4x plus 30y equals 626. And I've got negative 8x minus 6y equals negative 442. And let's see here. If I just take this one times 2, that will make these to be opposites. So that's what I'm going to do. 4 times 2, it would be 8x. 2 times 30y would be 60y. 2 times 626 would be 1252. And now check this out right here. These are opposites, so that should eliminate. So let's just add them. They're opposites, so we're going to add this time. Negative 8 plus 8 eliminates. Negative 6 plus 60, 54y. Negative 442 plus 1252 is 810. So divide both sides by 54. Y is 15. Okay. Now let's go back in one of these equations here and put 15 in for y. Let's put it right there. I tell you what, let's go this one here, because these are negatives and stuff. So if I put 15 for y right there, 30 times 15 would be 450. So I have 4x plus 450 equals 626. Okay. So if I put 15 for y right there, I get this. So I'm going to minus 450. Okay. So 4x equals 626 minus 450, 176. So divide by 4. X is 44. Okay. Now what about z? Okay, if I take 15 and 44 and stick it back in one of these up here now, I should be able to figure out z. Now let's go to this one here. These numbers are a little smaller, so that might be a little easier. All right, so if I put x was 44, okay, I put 44 in for x on that. 3 times 44. Here we go. 3 times 44 is 132. Okay. Now, y we had said was 15, so 2 times 15 is 30. 4z, 194. Okay, that's 162 plus 4z equals 194. Subtract 162. And that's going to be, what, 2, 3? Now divide by 4. Z is 8. Okay, so from before, we had x was 44, we had y was 15, we had z was 8, and there's my solution. Okay. All right, so this concludes our lesson today on systems of equations with 2 variable and 3 variable. Hope this helps you.